Welcome to the Caddo Convos, the podcast that explores the vibrant community of businesses thriving in Caddo Office Reimagined. We're here to shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and professionals who make the most of our private offices, co-working spaces, and day office rentals in the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs. Join us as we share their stories, celebrate their successes, and dive into the benefits of working in a space that's close to home but offers so much more than working from home. Let's get started with today's conversation. Today on Caddo Convos, I'm joined by Chanae Moore of White Letter Counseling. Chanae, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, buddy. This is fun.
This is fun. We're in the Flower Mound Caddo location, which is where your office is.
Yep.
So tell me about your clients and why they should seek you out.
Well, I guess we all go through our ups and downs. I know for me personally, my life hasn't been, a complete, perfect fairy tale.
None of ours has.
Right? And so
I want to meet the person.
Right, yeah. It's a Disney movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. So my story kind of just began to where I realized when I thought I hit rock bottom, I sought counseling, and my therapist really helped me. I sought a faith-based counselor, and she aligned with my beliefs, and she really, really helped me to grow. And so as life would have it, I went back to school, got my master's degree, and then found a really deep passion to help others. And we're in a broken world and a lot of people are hurting. So my desire is just to help others. So basically anyone who is hurting, who is feeling like there has to be more to life than what they're experiencing, I'm here to help.
That's fantastic. What inspired you? I mean, you mentioned that a little bit when we first started talking. It's like, talk to me about your life journey that brought you to where you can help people.
Oh, man, buddy.
Buddy, this is not I'm not getting paid for this, everybody, and I am not a licensed therapist.
I would say, I tell my clients when they come in, I'm not sitting in this chair because I have it all together.
Right.
It's because I have had a team around me to help me, and I can hopefully, help those that come into my office. So I went through a really rough patch. My husband, I do a lot of marriage counseling, so family therapy, couples counseling. And so my husband and I went through a really, really rough patch. And through that, we had our faith-based community came around us. My therapist helped us. And it kind of just made me think, we're all hurting. And I went back to school, as I said already.
Yeah.
I graduated from a local university in marriage and family therapy.
Oh, great.
And I went to school thinking, I don't want to be a counselor. I don't want to sit in an office all day. Like, I'm not equipped for that because my background's in sales and marketing. Oh. And so I did a lot of other things, and I was like, there's no way I would ever do that. But as life has it, I entered into it, and I love it. It's been very rewarding. One of the hardest roles I've ever sat in. It's a lot. It's a lot to hear people's trauma and pain.
I imagine so.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say your average client is? You mentioned a lot of different types of people. Who would you say your average? You mentioned marriage counseling and so on.
So my youngest client is 6, which is very rare in our area. It's hard to find therapists who will see youth under the age of 10. And if you can find one, it's hard to find availability on their calendar. So my youngest is 6. That's probably as low as I would go as far as the age group. And so I work with quite a few students in high school, and then also I don't know if I really have a specific range. I'm just really open as long as it's within my expertise, right? Yeah. Like I refer out. There's quite a few therapists here in the Caddo offices. So I tell my clients on my initial free consultation call, hey, like, therapy's hard. It's harder if you don't connect with your therapist. So if it's not me, then I want to help you connect with someone who can help you. Yeah. I advocate for therapy all around. So if not me, I'll connect them with someone, because there's some things I don't have the skill set to help them get through that area.
Right. Yeah. And then you got to find your people and find your help group. Yeah. From my vantage point, and I'm a business and media design and so on. So, but I've even seen, I'd say in the past maybe 10 years, therapy, especially through COVID and whatnot, there's all these different ways to get therapy. But I think it's become something that most people recognize is okay to, one, admit you have a problem, and okay, two, to seek out help.
Correct.
Have you witnessed the same being in this business from the inside?
Absolutely, buddy. And it's such a wonderful thing to see that the stigma is shifting. There's different cultures and subsets that still adhere to that, like we're all perfect and, got to hold it all together, shove those emotions down. But yeah, I think that the landscape has shifted quite a bit, and there are a lot of different modalities. I like how I heard you say like we all have problems, which yes, it's true. I use solution-focused therapy. It's a modality. So I approach it in, yes, we all are going through things, but we are really resilient. We all have strengths. So I pull those strengths out of my clients and say, okay, you excelled here, or you overcame something with this strength. So how can we apply it to something that you might be struggling with now?
Yeah.
And so solution focused is always seeking to connect their strengths with their goals or their therapeutic outcome that they're desiring.
Interesting. Everyone that holds a phone regularly probably has some type of social media interaction, and there's a lot of negative stuff there. Are you seeing some of that come through with your therapy?
Absolutely. I am not on social media, and so I got off.
What a gift you have
It
to
is.
avoid
So
social
whoever
media.
is out there, you're probably watching me on
Of
social
course.
media. Get off. End it right now. Get off. It is so
After you listen to the
freeing.
podcast,
Yeah, after
get
you
right
listen to the
off
podcast. No, it just was a personal decision to create some free space in my mind.
Yeah.
We live in a fast-paced world. Go, 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 go. We don't give ourselves rest, or we don't give mental rest. So it was a personal decision. It's been the best decision I have. But going back to your question, buddy, is the political atmosphere is very turbulent, and it's impacting a lot. I work with some veterans, and there's a whole nother view coming from their experiences and maybe how they've served our country, and it all bleeds into how we show up, and it's very stressful. Yeah. Even the students and the youth are experiencing it, right? So social media has created such a narrative, and again, this is my opinion and my experience, that has caused people to have higher stress, more anxiety, to look at everything that is negative rather than the solution-focused side of, yes, we can acknowledge there's some bad things happening. Yes, there's some hardships happening, yet what are the good and what can we do to improve?
Interesting. Tell me about how to engage with you. As in, you mentioned referrals, website. How do people find you? Your current.
Yeah. Psychology Today is a wonderful place to go. Again, whether you're seeking, if you feel like this is kind of how I say it. It's like, if I'm not the right fit, I'm going to connect you. But Psychology Today is a great place because you can filter out, say if you need insurance, if you want to, see a therapist who accepts your insurance based off of zip code, male, female, maybe faith-based, non-faith-based. So you can kind of filter through what your search parameters are. So I'm on Psychology Today. I also have my website, whiteletterco.com. And then you can just, I probably Google. I mean, I don't have social media, so.
Right. Basically, you can be found pretty easily, especially Psychology Today.
Yes, yeah.
And I mentioned this at the end of the show, of course, but everybody knows this. Check the show notes. Everything she mentions here, we'll make sure there are links in the show notes, so you can just scroll down there and find that information.
That's convenient.
Let's change gears just a little bit because we're right now we're in the Flower Mound location of Caddo Office Reimagined. Tell me why you chose Caddo.
Oh, Diette's going to love this. Diette is our office manager. She is fabulous. If you want a tour, please reach out to her. So I ended up swinging by. So I used to get my truck washed across the street. And so I saw it get built. And finally, timing was all right. I popped in. And at the time, there was another office manager or building manager here. And she gave me the tour. And I was like, I don't know. And set up, got signed up, fell in love with it. It's so clean. Leah does a wonderful job keeping the building clean. Everyone's really friendly. And Diette does little networking events and luncheons. And it's just a really great place. Not that I'm pretty booked, so I don't get to enjoy all the perks and the lunches. But it's just a really good atmosphere. My clients who come in, they often say how beautiful the location is. It really is beautiful. And I liked it so much, I got my husband, I asked him to get an office. So he's a couple doors down from me. So he has a solar company.
Oh, as I was saying.
Yeah, residential solar. No.
Business,
different business. No. He is not a therapist. No.
Yeah, that's terrific. Maybe for your energy needs.
Yes. Yeah. Solar. Go green.
so perhaps at some point he'll be on the Caddo Convos as well.
Yeah, we can have him out here.
Story, so
he's
we'll
great.
Put some links there.
Yeah.
Could you tell me advice on finding the right therapist?
If you're searching for a therapist, right? So you can do the Psychology Today, but my encouragement to you would be interview them. And if they're not going to offer a 15-minute free consult, I do that just as, wanting to connect and see if we're a right fit out of the gate. If they don't offer it, spend the extra money, whether it's like whatever their little fee is to get a consult, because you don't want to do all the paperwork, the groundwork, get into your first session and not connect. And so ask questions. One of the big ones I would say, ask your therapist what their self-care routine is.
Oh, good one.
Because if you're a therapist maybe they've been a therapist for 10 years, awesome, they have so much experience. At the same time, what's the other side of that coin? Maybe they're burnt out. Maybe they're just sitting there, checked out, going through all the modalities, checking boxes. I'm not saying not all of them are, but we're human. We get tired. We can burn out. So ask them what their self-care routine is.
Okay.
I think that would be a big one. And then, of course, go down your list of your priorities.
I like to ask therapists about, obviously not mentioning names, but can you tell me a couple of success stories? I mean, I know you've seen a lot of people come and go, and ideally they go because they feel like they've got a solution and they're focused on it.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
So tell me about those.
It is exciting. Okay, so earlier I said it's one of the hardest roles, right? Yeah. It's very, very hard. It's very draining. It's so fulfilling and so rewarding at the same time. And my goal too is like, as a therapist, I want you to stop seeing me eventually, like go down to maintenance, right? Like every 3 months or so, because you want to stay connected to someone. But some of the success stories, I have one individual who had been struggling for years, had sought treatment after treatment, and depressive state of mind, debilitating, impacting her daily lifestyle and work function. And I've been working with her for over a year, and it's just been beautiful to see what she has transformed into in her mindset and the shift. She's faith-based, so she sought me for faith-based counseling, which I do offer, and so she's just very grateful to God that she connected with me, and then also just the healing. She's night and day difference. Her countenance is completely changed. It's really rewarding. I love seeing marriages come together. I love that. It is so incredible to see two individuals who are ready to throw out 80% of the good for just 20% of the bad, the 80-20 rule. And then it's just communication and drawing out their strengths and rekindling why they actually chose one another and seeing how they've transformed. I have a couple couples like that, and it's really special. I feel very honored and privileged to be where I am.
Personal note for listeners is my youngest is basically on track to do what you do.
Yeah,
she's in college now, and she's going to get her master's and so on.
Okay.
So tell me, for people that want to become a counselor like you, what advice would you give them to set a path to your level of success?
I think that's something that I would say is take therapists out to lunch, invite them to learn. As someone who has a heart to pour back, to give the nitty gritty. If they want to do private practice, it's really hard. It can be challenging to build your clientele, making sure you have a business understanding. It's kind of like teachers. Teachers go in because they have such an empathetic heart. They want to help the kids, but then they get in this construct of the school system, and then their hands are, tied, and it wasn't what they expected, and then they have a hard time making a living, right? And so it's like, what is the why? If someone has a heart to help others, is therapy the best way that you can maximize helping? Or is there another way? Maybe it's a nonprofit. Maybe it's a local church. Maybe it's a setting that gives back, but it's not in a therapeutic office or a setting that way. So just explore other options. Again, taking the heartbeat behind why you want to get to it and make sure it's the right vehicle in which you can show up in your fullness. I would also say, definitely talk to other therapists or counselors and get their advice. I'm an adjunct professor at the local community, or not community, but at the university where I graduated. And I teach group therapy. And that's the one thing I say is like make sure you do your groundwork, because it is one of the hardest roles personally I have ever been in. Rewarding, but very hard emotionally on you and on your family. So if I'm depleted all day, meaning draining all of my resources, being fully present, engaging fully, emotionally connected, and then I go home, I have young kids and my husband, do I have enough to give back to them?
Right.
So think about, do you want to have kids? Do you want to have a family? Like, play into that. Don't just think about the one term.
Right. Wonderful.
And then if we have time, I have one other thing to add.
Absolutely.
Okay. And don't get stuck. Just because, so for your daughter, right? Mm-hmm. So if your daughter is interested in it, I'd say go for it. Often we get stuck into, I'm going to be a therapist, and you work really hard, and then you get into it and you're like, well, maybe I don't really like it. Well, what if her desire to be a therapist got her to a place to then get her to the next?
Right.
So my next place, I'm not going to always be a therapist. In some form, I will do therapy, but my next step is equine assisted therapy.
How about that?
Yes. So I'm going to be incorporating my 2 miniature horses into equine therapy, and I wouldn't have gotten to getting and owning 2 little miniature horses if I hadn't started, however many years ago to get my master's to then become a therapist. So it's a building block. Don't get stuck and enjoy it, because, life is meant to be grown and to be lived. And that's kind of my motto. I just don't want to leave any regrets. I want to live.
That's terrific. And I know everybody just peaked like I did. It was like, interest peaked.
Yes.
Are there pictures of your horses somewhere on your website?
I can add them. They're not right now.
Okay.
I built my website out. And so if you go on immediately after this, give me a little grace, because I have to update some stuff. But yeah, I can throw a couple pictures on there. It's Lincoln and Lovebug.
Oh my
They're
goodness
so cute.
gracious.
So I'm training them right now. I love horses. I grew up riding, and that's my passion. I want a ranch one day to do therapy and bring people out for retreats.
Wonderful.
But while I was praying, I felt God put it on my heart just to start small, and miniature horses popped into my mind, and here we go. Yeah. So they're not threatening. People love it. There's something
adorable.
beautiful about, pets for therapy. So that's my next step.
That's fabulous. Well, that's we'll look forward to that when that time comes. And
next time I'll have to bring them in, and then you can take pictures.
And come back and visit us on the show when you've moved on to that next step.
Perfect. Yes.
Doing equine
I can do
therapy.
that.
So it has been such a pleasure to talk to you
Thank
today.
you, buddy. You're such a good host.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today on the Caddo Convos podcast. A huge shout out to our incredible network of members for making our community vibrant and supportive. If you're looking to boost your productivity and reduce the isolation of working from home, consider joining us at Caddo Office Reimagine. Our spaces are designed to meet your evolving needs, support remote work, and foster a sense of community that's hard to find at home. Whether you're a startup aiming for growth, a freelancer seeking a professional setting, or a company looking to optimize resources, Caddo offers a perfect blend of flexibility and innovation. By joining us, you'll be a part of a dynamic business ecosystem that helps you thrive. For more information, visit caddooffices.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Caddo Convos.